the Knicks can unify the city like nobody else.
No question about it, because they
Right?
play.
You think the Islanders are going to take? I mean, the Islanders haven't lost since we started this show. They can't get on the back page.
The Knicks are the Knicks because they play in the heart of Manhattan.
That's it. We
Both
know it.
football teams play in Jersey.
Yeah, we
Both
know it.
baseball teams play in outer
We
boroughs.
know it.
So the Knicks are the Knicks.
You're right. You're 100% right. It's fragile. And that goes to my giant point that we started to make before we came up to the break that, like, I look at the Giants now, and I called into a certain radio show this week, and he agreed that the whole beauty and cachet of those, Giant tickets from back in the day, that's all gone now. That's all gone. That's all gone. The having the season tickets. I know a guy who has season tickets. Those tickets are for sale everywhere. I have a buddy who's all over the Maras. All over them. Huge Giant fan.
Yeah.
Oh, all over the sun. And he's like, he goes, I actually think they're up there going, we're the Giants. This will turn around on its own. This was, this is an old world football gold label franchise, which it is, but currently right now it's not. And you're not the Knicks.
We talked
You
about
don't have the fan base you don't have the location of the Knicks. You're outdoors. You're competing against rain, sleet, snow, the holidays. It's only 8 games and it's expensive. And people, now like I say, the Knicks aren't expensive, but the Knicks, you almost turn it into a night. It's a night. The Knicks are a Broadway show.
Well, some of these teams.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
You're already in the
It's
city.
wintertime. It's the winter
You're already
time.
in the city. You got to get home.
Some of these
It
teams,
matters. It matters. I'm
some
sorry.
of these teams like the Giants have a built-in culture in terms of doing it the Giant way. I mean, we talked about it when they hired Gettleman that they should have really gone outside the organization and gone a total reboot. But I think John Mara kind of respects continuity and working with people who he's got a prior relationship, right? And that's the reason why Gettleman got the job, because he was a long-time assistant GM.
Well, he brought up that he had the good line about coaches get hired to get fired. I actually think the Giants, when they hire someone, they hire them for 10 years, or at least that's what they want.
I think in the GM spot, I think you're correct on that. The coach's spot, I think they've become a little bit more amenable to pulling the plug. They did pull the plug on McAdoo after what, a year?
Yeah.
It was a year
And
and a half.
he had a
right?
front office fiasco that we could argue about forever.
I mean, Jerry Reese was there for a long time. Ernie, of course, he was there for a long time. And
George Young was there
obviously
forever. You just went back
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah, so I don't see John Mara pulling the plug on Gettleman this quickly. Gettleman may come to the realization that Pat Shurmur isn't the right fit for this young quarterback. So you theoretically could pull the plug on Pat Shurmur after 2 years. But I
You
guess
actually
maybe
make
the
a good
fuss.
point. They actually could make a decision on the coach's head based on one player.
No question about it. They're all in on Daniel Jones, right? Because Eli's not going to be around next year.
No,
They're all in on
that's a
Daniel Jones.
foregone.
So the question is, are they seeing enough development with Daniel Jones, and they like the marriage between Shurmur and Jones? If they don't like that marriage, then they're going to pull the plug on Shurmur. But they're not going to do that until they get some indication that that marriage is not working. They're not going to pull the plug on Gettleman. John Mara is not going to bring in somebody who he doesn't have a relationship with and say, this is, you run the organization. I don't think that's the Mara way. Now, maybe that's frustrating to the fans. Maybe the younger fans are like, well, why not bring in some young, hotshot, 35-year-old, Harvard-educated, and just turn the organization over to him, let him ramp up the analytics, ramp up all the technology, stuff like that. I don't think that's John Mara's way. I think he likes continuity and people who he knows, who he's comfortable with in terms of relationship. But the Knicks, it's frustrating as hell because you kind of worry about the impact that all this dysfunction has on the young players, especially someone like
He
R.J.
touched on
Barrett.
it. He touched on it.
R.J. Barrett seems like he could be a player. So, I mean, to have him go through all this coaching changes and dysfunction is a problem. But James Dolan has got to come to the realization that he's got to go out and overpay for one of these hotshot GMs, whether it's Masai Ujiri from the Raptors, whether it's Sam Presti from Oklahoma City, or whoever else is out there.
When
and
did all
bring in
this
a turn.
change? When did all this change?
Changed when
Allen Houston. Give me that. When did all this change?
well, the last time they made
Latrell Sprewell
they made the finals in '99,
as an 8 seed.
right? When Patrick Ewing got hurt, that was a strike.
that was the 8
That
seed.
was a strike shortened
Right,
season.
that was the 8 seed.
Van Gundy abruptly resigned and left the team. I think when part of the issue, I think, was Checketts and Dolan. I mean, when Dolan kind of took over, I think,
Okay,
right?
so that was it. That's
Right.
what. Yeah. No, you would know better than me.
People
That's where you're
forget.
bookmarking it.
People forget that Donnie Walsh.
So if we ever sat down in those years, and a fortune teller came in and said, this is what the NBA is gonna. This is the upward slope of the NBA. So what are we talking? We're in a bar in what? 2002, 2003. All right, we're sitting in Madison having our cacio pepe, right, with a fortune teller, and she says, "This is what the NBA is gonna look like. This is the trajectory." Oh, by the way, that guy Steve Jobs that you guys may have remembered, he's gonna invent this phone. We're gonna be watching it on our phone. We're gonna open it up to the globe, and this is what the NBA is gonna morph into. And then she says, and this is what the Knicks are going to look like. What the Knicks are going to look like. And she puts up the second chart. What kind of odds would you have laid?
Be like, this is crazy.
You would look at her and say, okay, now you got to get out of here.
One bad management decision after another turns us into a dumpster fire.
You would actually say there's no way you got to point A without point B, at least somewhat bouncing around that same line.
Over a 20-year period, you're going to have to be good, you would think, at least 4 or 5 of those years, right?
Then Chifa would say it's mathematically impossible in the New York area, and I would back him up because that would be my line.
Yeah. We made the trade for Melo, which was a little bit of a problem. Don't forget, Donnie Walsh was the GM, and James Dolan kind of came in and took over the negotiations, gave up half the team for Melo. And don't forget that Donnie Walsh was put in place by Stern, who said to James Dolan, your team is garbage, man. You have to go hire Donnie Walsh. He's a legitimate GM. Bring in Donnie Walsh.
And Donnie Walsh got sick in the middle of it, right?
Yeah. Dolan was pissed off because when they were wooing LeBron James, Donnie Walsh had just had hip surgery, and he came in a walker.
Right.
And James Dolan was like, we're going to convince LeBron James to come to the Knicks when our GM is walking around in a walker. Looks like he's half dead. What kind of presentation are we going to make to LeBron James?
Right. This is in the
our
when he went to
GM
the
looks
Heat,
like he belongs at Care 1 in Livingston.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's crazy. So that at that point, Dolan got all crazy. He jumped the gun on the Melo deal because Melo was going to come as a free agent. Melo, he didn't want to go to Brooklyn, even though they were talking about trading him to Brooklyn. But he jumped the gun because he wanted to make the trade. Could you imagine the Knicks with all those assets that they traded for Melo and had Melo come as a free agent? I mean, it would have been good. He's run off some pretty good coaches. I mean, people forget that D'Antoni, one of the best coaches in the NBA, was the coach.
He was white hot, and he was white hot when you hired him.
Yeah, he got run out by Melo because of the style of play or whatever, right? Isaiah Thomas, for all his faults, and he had a lot of faults, did acquire talent.
Did he acquire Stoudemire?
No, Stoudemire was Donnie Walsh,
Okay.
where they pivoted once LeBron didn't come.
Right.
Yeah, and Amari was great for 40 games, but he had bad knees. That's the reason why the Suns didn't re-sign. They couldn't insure the $100 million contract because he had bad knees. So it's been one mess after another. Phil Jackson was a publicity play. Phil Jackson wasn't able.
I think he made a great point. Phil Jackson was to keep him off the back page.
Yeah, he was basically a heat shield for Dolan. He's like, let the
The guy's got more rings than he could put on fingers.
Phil Jackson lives in Montana.
Right. Listening to the
He's
dead.
living in LA. His
Yeah.
girlfriend at that point was
Yeah.
Jeannie Buss.
Right.
He was gonna maybe commute.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna put the work in to be a legitimate GM, and it's a job he never did before.
Yeah.
But he was getting paid $12 million a year. He overpaid for Phil Jackson. So go out now and overpay for a legitimate basketball guy. And let's get this thing right the first time. I mean, for once in a long time. But do I have any faith in that? No. And let's get some rich person to come in and buy the Knicks.
Chiefo, are you here today? What do you got? He's waiting for the fake tree, real tree argument.
Let's get Jeff Bezos. Let's get Mackenzie Bezos. Let's get
Mackenzie Bezos.
Let's get one of the Bezos
She's got
kids to come in.
$65 billion sitting in there. We'll take Mackenzie.
We'll take the 10-year-old Bezos kid,
Yep.
who's probably worth $20 billion.
Yep.
Come in and let's rid ourselves of this black cloud that's hanging over the garden, and let's move this thing in the right direction. For once, let's do it. Enough. I'm sick of my teams having bad management. Whether it's the Cowboys, because Jerry Jones can't give up control, right?
You do.
Let's go get a legitimate coach.
Imagine George was still alive, and the three teams that you root for.
It's bad. The only team that's well run is the Yankees. Cowboys are run like garbage. Talented roster. The coach, I don't even know what the coach is. They call him the clapper. He just claps on the sidelines. He never does anything. The Knicks, garbage. So it's basically just the Yankees that are well run.
Yeah.
That's it. These teams.
I'm so sick of the Cowboys.
You're sick of the
I'm
Cowboys?
so sick of it. You close your eyes and you don't think about it. You assume they won 5 Super Bowls in the last 20 years. The team hasn't been in the NFC Championship game since 1996.
It's all
And they're
marketing.
shoved. It's the greatest marketing
A
ever.
marketing conglomerate.
It really is.
And you
Oh,
watch these
it
Cowboys.
really
I mean,
is.
the frustration thing about the Cowboy games and this losing streak, they get the ball, They go down the field, they score a touchdown, and in the rest of the game they do nothing else offensively.
What are the 3 losses? Patriots, Thanksgiving, and
Bears,
and
Bills,
the Bears. Yeah,
Patriots.
Yeah. yeah, you're right. Yeah,
This
Patriots, Bills, Bears.
This last game against the Bears, they get the ball, 22 plays, eat up 8 minutes of clock, score a touchdown, go up 7-0. The rest of the game, no adjustments, do nothing.
I don't watch it in its entirety. I watched the game on Thanksgiving in its entirety.
It's frustrating. And the team is loaded with talent. They got players.
We'll do a quick break and then we'll come back and wrap this up. Our last half hour. All right, let's do it. We'll take a quick break. Com Mazza Radio.
From the metropolitan
That's part of
campus
the
of
problem.
Fairleigh Dickinson University,
No,
this is
that's part of the
WFDU-FM and HD1 TNET, the New York metro area's home of retro radio oldies and eclectic weekends, streaming worldwide at